Hey, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to The Creative Mind. I'm your host, Byron Craig, and today we have one of the most generous people I know. Her kindness knows no bounds. She is a real interesting person, and she's a real sweetheart. She is the founder, CEO, and chief creative officer of Chazon Media. I say that right?
You got it.
Boom. Chief creative officer, chief executive officer, boss lady, we call her. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my good friend, Drucilla Nicole.
Hello.
Yay. Welcome, welcome. I'm happy that you're here. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you for having me. I'm super excited.
Absolutely. Now, I know everybody first off is going to be like, what's Chazon Media? It sounds like you're saying cousin, but it's Hebrew because you said that earlier because I've been saying it wrong. I've been saying Chazon because it's spelled Chazon.
Mm-hmm.
But you know how them Hebrew dialects be. And you got to do the chs and the husses.
Absolutely.
Where did the inspiration for Chazon Media come from?
So I had the hardest time. I went through a rebrand this year. No, last year. Oh my gosh, it's a new year. I went through a rebrand last year and I had the hardest time. I felt like God kept putting on my spirit that there was something to do with vision, which obviously makes sense as a photography, videography, and media company. And so I knew vision, like that was the only thing that was like speaking to me. And I'm telling y'all, I looked up like every verse that had the word vision in it. And I just was like, what is this supposed to mean? I had nothing, like nothing else was coming to me, just vision, vision, vision. And then one day, I don't know if I just like finally opened my brain or if it was like time for me to start being obedient. I don't know what it was. But one day I looked up the word vision in different languages. And so Kazon means vision in Hebrew.
Love that. That's amazing. See what happens when you're obedient? You get
Hmm.
the blessing. I love that.
Absolutely.
I love that. So let's just dive right in. Where did Drucilla, or Drew as we call you? It's
Hmm.
weird to say Drucilla. I'm so sorry. I,
I don't
it, I,
mind either.
I said it and I was like, that's weird. It feels weird coming off the tongue. I just call you Drew.
Hmm.
Where did little Drew, get started in photography or any sort of creativity?
So creativity started for me when I was younger, and y'all will, I laugh at myself for this, so y'all will laugh with me. I wanted to be a fashion designer when I was like 9. And so
That's not silly.
it's
That's an amazing goal.
well, yeah, but I went a total different direction. So in my head, I find it silly because I'm like, okay, mind you, I do love like style and fashion and things, but as an adult, that is not my forte. That's not for me. I'll leave that for the people that it's for. But I just remember doodling with me and my little best friends in third grade. I remember all of us wanted to be a fashion designer. We're all like doodling all the time. And that's just like kind of where I started just like having fun with the concept of being creative. And I had no idea what I was doing back then. But I think over time, just like learning about yourself and like navigating life, I feel like that just like budded and changed into like total different like realms. So like at one point I was an artist in school, in middle school, and I had a selling piece. I sold a piece of
Really?
art. I probably made like $10, but I had a
Hey,
selling piece of art.
hey, that's something. Something's better than nothing.
Yes, yes. So in my head, I just knew like I was meant to make things and be like almost like an out of the box thinker, but I didn't know in what facet. And
Hmm.
then as life happens, college, jobs, all the things, I feel like I put it to the wayside just because like who has time for everything?
Sure.
And then I found myself living in Austin, Texas. I went there right after college, enjoyed myself. It was so much fun. And I feel like I came into my adult version of Drew there. But life happened, and I ended up coming back to Dallas, Texas, my hometown,
Whoop,
and
whoop.
I did not like it. I don't know
What?
why. Yes, I was so unexcited about being back in Dallas. I just feel like my adult years was elsewhere, and then I'm like coming back to where I like grew up. It was just like weird.
Yeah.
But my therapist in the adjustment, she was like, you need to find something that just puts you out there, like, because I work remotely and I have for a very long time now. So she was like, you're just at home all the time. You kind of need something to push yourself, get out of the box, do something different. And I literally Googled like just like classes. And when I tell you, I found a photography class and it reminded me of way back when I was in
Yeah.
ninth grade, my grandmother bought me my first camera. And I was like, oh, wait a second, hold on. Like I like dabbled with it, obviously not very well back then, but like I played around with it and it just like excited me so much. So
Yeah.
I bought that little photography class. I went and bought the cheapest camera I could possibly find. And the smallest little thing, like literally just a suggestion, just threw me into so much. Like
Yeah.
that one little moment of just, all right, I need to do something. I need to get out of the house. Now I'm like consistently a creative. And I have like this huge network of people in my life now just because that one little yes.
That's crazy. What year was that when you moved back to Dallas and took this class?
I took that class in, I want to say 2022.
Wow. Only, I was about to say 2 years, almost only 3 years. Wow. And look where you are now.
Truly. It is one of those things that I can't even understand. Like, again, just that one little yes
Yeah.
catapulted into so much.
What was your time like in Austin? Because Austin's a trippy city. And I know you're there for work, but Austin's a trippy city just because it's like creative, but then it's not, and it's weird. And I heard randomly the other day they're trying to change that keep Austin weird. They're trying to get rid of it.
Hmm.
Mm.
Yeah, I recently, because I occasionally will go back to Austin for work a little bit, and it is not the same Austin anymore. So I'm just like, oh my goodness, I can't even imagine like living there, and I wanted
Yeah.
to stay. But Austin, I think, was just like a developing stage for me of like
Mm.
I am like coming into my own. I am forced to start a life. Like I left everybody from my family, all of my friends. I left everybody and I went and created just like a beautiful network of wonderful people. And so that's really what pulled me through Austin. I don't know if I got the full Austin experience. I was only there for a few years and I just feel like there's so much to Austin.
Yeah.
But it just does hold a little special place to my heart.
There's something special about going to like Zilker Park down there and getting in like the river, all that. Like I've only done it once and I was like, "Oh, if I lived here, I'd I'd do this like every weekend when it's hot."
I wish that was the case because I feel like I've done it once and I lived there for a few years.
I guess when you live there, like I guess you take things for granted. I mean, I
Yeah.
know living in Dallas, Dallas is a really creative city. You
Hmm.
just don't see it as much.
Yeah. There's
It's
so
weird.
much to do here, but I also feel like I'm also in my head like there's nothing here, but there
Yeah,
really is if you look for it.
there is. So the moral of the story is one, be obedient, go home,
Mhm.
get a therapist, people.
Get a
Because they'll
therapist.
therapy. It will help. And take classes. Those are the keys.
Just a simple yes, too, because I feel like I could have easily been like, what is she talking about? Like, no, I don't. And that just like getting me out of the house a little bit, taking the class, like challenging myself too, I think
Mm,
was a really big part of it. Like, I know nothing in this realm. Like, this is not going to be easy peasy. Like, you have
yeah.
to assert yourself. And so I think that too.
Now I'm curious, like, do you still draw?
No, I don't.
Really?
You know what's cool though? I wish I had it right in front of me. I made this little like doormat
Yeah.
and I freehanded it.
Really?
And it said like this is so random, nobody cares about this. It said cool shoes. It says like cute shoes, but take them off because I like to be a no shoe household. And
Abs-
I freehanded it and it's so cute. And so I was like, I'm still obviously I know I'm an artist because photography is an art, but in my head I was like, I'm still an artist, like a
yeah.
traditional artist because I did that with like I just looked at a picture and freehanded it.
Really? Okay. So I'm gonna say it now, and the internet can hold us accountable. I want to buy a Drucilla Nicole. I want to buy an original, like whatever you make. Like I want to buy.
I'll
Like
gift you one. I'll make
no,
you a
no,
mat.
no, 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 no. I don't. No, whatever it is. I just want something creative because, like, my whole thing is like I want to support my friends, and no,
Mhm.
you can't give it to me for free. I want to pay for it because, like, that's what you do, right?
That's
You
friends
help.
supporting friends.
Yes, you got to do that. Okay, cool.
I love
Now
that.
that's out. Now that's out the way. All right. Yeah, that's really cool. So you're born in Dallas.
Hmm.
Where'd you go to college?
I went to UTA
Oh, well, that's Dallas. Oh, that's pretty
down
much.
the
That's
road. Yep,
Arlington.
UTA, and then I got my grad degree from Lamar University in like the
Wait,
Houston
hold
area.
on. I didn't know you had. I didn't know you was an MBA.
I sure am.
Yo, Look at me. See, look at this podcast. Just learn. Cause we don't ever like, I think we've sat down like and had like an hour long talk like once or twice
Literally,
because we're
probably
so busy.
twice. Yeah.
Every time we're so busy. And I was saying this yesterday when I did another podcast. I was like, it's like on Sundays when I meet people, I'm like, I don't have time to talk. Like it's during the week, but during the week you have week work stuff. And then like, okay, you're like, okay, well, I don't have time to engage in like a full length conversation with somebody. Not now, maybe. And then you're like, okay, maybe Sunday. And then Sunday becomes busy again.
Yeah, Sundays are crazy for us.
Yay. We love our social team. I feel like half the people on this podcast are from social.
Love it.
Well, we just go introduce the world to, hey, there's a bunch of creatives here at social.
That part.
Love it. Lamar University. How was Houston's weird too. I know we keep talking about cities, but like
I will say I did that fully online, so I did not have to go and experience. It was an online degree. But I'm not gonna lie, I'm not against Houston. I know the normal rivalry, but I'm not against it. But I was definitely not in Houston for that.
No. Houston's weird. Houston was the last place right before the pandemic hit where I was doing a photo shoot, and it was just weird.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
That whole era was weird. That time was just interesting.
So this is February of 2020. I'm in Houston shooting my friend who's a UFC fighter. Her name's Andrea Lee. She was fighting, and I'm just staying in the hotel, the Crown Plaza Hotel, and people are like coughing and they're talking like, oh, there's this coronavirus thing. And they're like, who cares? It doesn't matter. And they're like, no, we can only take one elevator. And I was like, no. It was so weird. And I sat in my room editing photos for 3 straight days. And I was like, and people were like, don't cough on me. I was like, weird. It was the weirdest experience.
Yeah, truly.
But all those people, we were in a 24-hour gym. People were cutting weight and sweating and coughing, and it was an experience for sure. And
to say the least.
Come back. What was that like? So obviously, between the time of, I guess, let's just say 9th grade in 2022, you said, did you do anything creative then?
Yes, but I feel like nothing consistently. I have a Cricut and I loved making things. So I like at one point started a little clothing brand, which was fun, but like not my thing, you know? So it was like I enjoyed it for the time, but like
really? Not from the fashion designer as a 9-year-old?
You know what? Wow, I never put 2 and 2 together there. But maybe that was like my inner child like trying to come out, and at least we can say we tried it. But it was not our space. mind you, I had a lot of fun with it, but it was not the way. That was the most like consistent like creative thing I did. Mind you, I will like till this day. I haven't done it recently actually, but like I would get like an adult coloring book or something just to feel like I'm doing something. Are you an adult colorer?
Yeah, I just bought like 2 of them the other day, and they're on my desk. There's something really cathartic about just getting colored pencils and just turn on some music and just sitting there, especially music with no words, just sitting there just coloring. Oh,
so mindless. Like that was one thing I think that maybe kept my like little creative spark going, because it's just like a mindless thing that I can just do and not think, and just it was like therapeutic for me at the time.
Yes, I did it. I don't know why I did it the other day. Ariana, my oldest daughter, youngest daughter, not oldest. She actually came and took it yesterday and was coloring. And I was like, where are my coloring books? She was like, oh, sorry.
Here you go.
I was like, girl, if you want some, just ask. But, they don't like coloring. Everything is digital for these children. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. That's really cool, though, that you actually see. We learn here on this podcast, like you executed your childhood vision, and it just wasn't for you.
Yeah, at least we tried.
We did try. What are your thoughts? Because now I'm just curious. What are your thoughts about creatives who start and stop a thing? Like, maybe like here I can give you my thought. My thought is like sometimes we as creatives, we get like really in our heads, and that's one thing that we're trying to figure out about perfectionism and
Mm-hmm.
not doing like everything perfectly, because nothing will ever be perfect for us.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so like, what are your thoughts behind that? Like,
I think it's like part of being a creative for somebody to like drop something and pick something else up or pick something back up, because I think it's almost like ingrained within us to be doing something, but I think there's like a grace and understanding like life is going to happen. You cannot do every single thing at once. And so I think that's what I was trying to hold for myself of like I love doing all these things, but like I don't have the bandwidth. I was like at one point working like two jobs and going to school, so it was like
sheesh.
I literally need my time to sleep because I'm either studying or working or in school.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I think it's just, but I do think it's part of like who we are. Like our nature is like almost like at least the way I think about it is like I'm like a doer. I'm like on the go all the time, and it's like almost impossible for me to sit down. It's like the one of the biggest things I'm working on right now with myself. And I think that stems from the same of like a creative is truly a creative like through and through.
Mm-hmm.
If they hopefully have grace for themselves when they fall off, they'll pick right back up where they were at, or they will try something new and find something that may spark more like motivation for them to stay
Yeah.
consistent. Or another, like me, I tried something, it wasn't for me and dropped it, and now like one step closer to the thing that like gives me the most joy in creating.
How do you feel? How have you been feeling? Because I know that you were focusing on rest this year. How
Hmm.
has that restful, like mentally rest, physical, how has that impacted your journey when you're out doing shoots or creating things for other people?
It's interesting. I'm trying to navigate it, and I say it's interesting because I feel like I do rest more and like mentally trying to hold space for myself to rest. But sometimes I think I let that kind of get to me in the space of like, you have this business you've just rebranded, like you're in your like prime to keep going. And like for me, I have no children, so it's like you have the time and the space to go execute and make this a really great thing. So do that. But then I think about like, how am I gonna fill my like yes, it fills my cup to be creative and to be it's one of my favorite aspects of my life. Like picking up my camera is so special to me. But like how am I gonna make sure I show up like fully me and my own like energy and like having fun with it and making sure my clients are enjoying the experience. But if I'm tired, I can't give as much to that.
Yeah.
So I'm really trying to find a good balance. I think I'm doing okay. Like random side note, my birthday's in January, so I take January off. I don't take clients in January. And so coming off of that, I'm like trying to slowly like, okay, let's keep doing, but like almost like hold on, like you have
Yeah.
a lot in your life, so it's tricky.
Hmm. I mean, that's interesting. Like the slow rollout,
Hmm.
that's really fascinating. Because I would think that, I guess, have you ever considered like in January, while you're not doing clients, mentally just like sketching out ideas? I mean, have you ever considered doing something like that?
Oh, would I love to? I feel like I just have to fully unplug. Like I need a season of just like not thinking about it. But I think honestly in my planning and preparing for next year, maybe that means like December is my season that I map out the first few months of the year.
Mm-hmm.
So that way like as soon as because honestly like I have so many like batch contents that are just like kind of sitting there waiting to be posted. So like even though I'm not taking clients, I could be sharing things and marketing myself better, honestly. But my brain is just like, ooh, okay, we made it through a year. We give us a little breather and then we'll
Yeah.
make it through this one. So it is something. Maybe you can hold me accountable to doing that.
Done. I find social media to be very, very weird from the
Hmm.
aspect of like posting, because it's now more like, obviously Instagram is more video based, and they're like, oh, look at my reels. Like, I don't care, even though I post reels from this podcast. Outside of that, I'm like, I don't care about, I don't care about social media. It's cool to like doom scroll, but the posting aspect, and they're like, oh, the algorithm changed. Now you gotta like
Hmm.
do this hash. I'm like, why I gotta do that much work just for someone to see my stuff?
It is, to me, it is so much work, and I try to like work my brain around like I'm gonna let this work do more work for me, bring me more clients, like help me find the people. But in reality, I can be honest and tell you, I'm just like it is so exhausting. Like in all the things, like I would truly personally rather be editing a photo shoot and like making sure my clients are happy with these
Yeah.
photos. But it's the name of the game. It's something that we kind of have to do, like me for photos and videos and you for marketing this
Yep.
podcast. So it's a tricky thing, truly.
It's the weirdest thing. And then to pay someone to do the same thing that you would do and hope that they get some sort of magical touch or they're in like a groove. A friend of mine, his name's Keon Gibson, he uses like AI to like structure his content and I'm like, bro, why? Like how? One, why? Two, I didn't when he was on my podcast, I just didn't understand it. I still kind of don't, but
Yeah,
it's weird. That whole life thing is, yeah, yeah. Social media is just weird.
it is. If I could truly be successful without it, I probably would. But like, hey, I need to reach more people so that way I can capture special moments. So I try to do it, but I'm gonna need everybody listening to this also to hold me accountable because Drusilla has a problem with posting. So we'll see.
I think a majority of creatives have a problem with posting because
Mhm.
one, it's you don't want to feel super vulnerable in the fact that you spent so much time editing photos and then 7, 10 people see it and you're like, for what? Versus back in the day, you'd post some random thing and it would just go like crazy viral. And you're like, for
That
what?
literally like a picture of my dog or something, and I have so
Mm-hmm.
much engagement. But I'm like, wow, I worked so hard on this, and oh, we got 10 likes. Great, thank you so much. And mind you, the concept of like, I think I saw something about like, why do we get discouraged if only like 20 people like our stuff? Because in reality, in one day, if you got 20 compliments, that would be a big deal. So I try to remind myself, like, those 7 people, like, y'all are my people. I see you, you see me, like, thank you. I love it. But it's like one of those like mind little thingies that I think social media creates.
Yeah, that perception is weird. There's no way that in a day you'd get 15,000 compliments. Be like, it'd be too much. It'd be overwhelming.
Yeah.
But when you're like basing it like, oh, this post got 15,000 views versus this one got 348, and you're like, what? No. And you start feeling bad about yourself, and you're like, then you got to pull yourself out mentally. It's social media is a weird drug.
It is weird. I am grateful that I at least got to live life without it for a little while because some people like this is just their norm and they have no idea what
Yeah.
it was like before and like the value in like unplugging. Like I couldn't
Mm-hmm.
imagine if I didn't know how much unplugging could even like benefit.
Yeah. I a dream of mine is to just completely unplug, get a flip phone, burner phone, and just go to Italy for like 6 months. Sit in
Mhm.
an old village with a nonna, have her teach me how to make pasta the old Italian way, and
Hmm.
that's like true goals. And just learn Italian, and just when I'm done, I just go, okay, I'm done. No,
Yep.
I have no need to check Instagram or anything like that because my life is there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Is Drusilla a traveler?
You know what? I used to be, and I don't want to say used to. I was a massive traveler the year before last.
Yeah.
The year before last, I went on a trip a month and
Oh,
lived literally a trip a month. That was like the biggest like year of like self-growth, healing. I had a lot of transitions going on in my life at the time, and I swear the traveling is not just a like of course it's a luxury, but it wasn't just that. It like helped me like build myself and
hmm,
like build my relationship with God, which is so important to me, and it helped me like to like fine tune just like me and my identity and like what I want to do in life and like all the fun things that like I'm now a part of and like
yeah.
again all the special people in my life now. Like if it wasn't for that traveling, I'd probably be a hermit. Like I couldn't even expect what my life would be like. But when I tell you that traveling touched my spirit, I don't travel as much now, but I think it's because after doing all that healing, I realized like life is good here now. Like you're
Yeah.
good, life is good where you're at. So yes, still love to travel, but life is good right here, so I don't have to go anywhere.
Ooh, that's a bar. Life is
Hmm.
good right here. That's like on some eat, pray, love type stuff.
Literally, but like the ability to do it like in your own space, it's truly one of my like biggest blessings, truly.
Mm. I never read or watched the movie Eat, Pray, Love. I've only seen it referenced, so I find it interesting to go away. You find yourself. Is that kind of how that worked for you? Like you went away to these different places around the world, had experiences, and then you found yourself. Obviously, therapy too.
They very much on therapy, but I really think what it came down to was I like had to put myself in predicaments that I wasn't in. I was in like a rhythm, like I was in a comfort zone. So my
Mm.
first big trip, I went to New York, which to me, now that I'm looking back, I'm like, that was kind of bold because I'd never been away and it was a solo trip. I had never been like away alone before.
Yeah,
But that one, and I went for a week, like I like made it my thing to like fully push myself, try new things, like face the ability of like, okay, something could happen to me while I'm out here and who knows, but like I'm just gonna trust in myself to keep like my surroundings like,
yeah,
and all the things. But it really, I think, was just getting out of my everyday norm and the things that would come up that I wouldn't be exposed to at home and how I was responding to them and like showing, like almost like reiterating to myself, like, look how capable you are.
yeah. I love that.
Mhm.
One of my favorite places in the world is upstate New York in New Windsor. There's an art exhibit. It's an outdoor art exhibit. It's called Storm King.
Hmm.
It's the most peace. It's like on a few hundred acres, and
Wow.
it's just you. If you go in like October, November, where it's still like not cold but like cool, and the leaves are changing. Oh, it's the most peaceful place in to me in America. It's the most peaceful place. You
That
go, the
sounds
wind's just blowing.
sweet.
It's my
Just
happy
like the
place.
sounds of nature too. Like there's something that the
Yes.
sounds of nature just do to somebody. Even though I'm a city girl, true and true. My favorite places to go. I love like tropical places and all of that. But send me to New York, Chicago, San Francisco, and I am thriving. But
Of
then I
course.
want to get back home to my little like quiet life.
Those are all amazing cities with
Hmm.
amazing food restaurants. Like
Hmm.
I'm a foodie, so like when you said Chicago, I'm like, oh, Alinea. San Francisco, my
Hmm.
friend Chef Dominique Kren's out there. Like, oh, anyway, yeah, amazing spots. Also, you should do more solo trips. My sister, she's my younger sister. She go. I when I tell you, she travels the world alone. Like she's been to Japan and Thailand and like that whole general. And she has like the craziest adventures. One time somebody she was in Japan and wanted to go see the Japanese fish markets, and somebody can like an older man in a white van pulled up and was like, "Get in van," and she was like, "What?" And he's like, "You
Hold
get
on.
in van."
I'm like, whoa, this is where I draw the line.
Yeah, but you know what she did? She got in the van. And what did he do? He took her inside the fish market and she got like a private tour on the back of the little buggy thing that like drive around with the fish.
Okay.
Yeah. And then people were like, "Oh, it's Janet Jackson," because she had box braids and stuff. And they were like taking pictures and like buying her drinks and everything. I was like, yeah. She has amazing stories and she travels the world all by herself. And I'm like, aren't you afraid like you're gonna experience, but she stays in hostels with other people so she meets people
Yeah,
that way.
that is cool. I've wanted to do that, but there is a part of me who's like, ooh, I just like my own space. Like, ooh, I don't know if I could do it. But I will say solo travel is one of my like, of course, don't get me wrong, I have very like great loved ones in my life that I'm like, I
Hmm.
want to experience things with y'all too, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But there's just something about like the solo travel and like what it does to like the spirit. I don't know, just
Yeah.
like helping build and strengthen and all the things. I'm so here for it.
Oh
I
yeah.
would not have gotten in that van though. I would that.
I wouldn't have gotten the van. An old Japanese man yelling, "Get in the van."
Woo.
I'm good. I don't know you
Mhm.
at 5 in the morning too, because like you know, it's dark out. You don't know who this man is. I mean, obviously, she was taking like boxing and kickboxing classes back then. She's like, I could have taken him. I was like, but that's not the point.
Yeah, that's not really the point. We
That's
want you
not.
safe.
Yeah, don't want to be flying to Japanese. I mean, the Yakuza's over there. Shout out to the
Mm-hmm.
Yakuza. We don't want any problems here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, wild times, but hey, solo traveling for the win.
Mm.
So, what is the dream of Drucilla? What is your dream?
Like, I don't know, dream, like my dream life, my dream activity. Like, I
No, I mean
mean,
like so. Normally, I don't. I ask people this question in person. I've never. You're the first person I've actually asked on this podcast. What's their dream?
mhm.
Like, if you could pick out and choose the way that your life is from a creative standpoint, or even just like a personal standpoint, like what does if God today came down and said, "Drew, I'll give you. You tell me exactly what you want in life, and I will make it so with the snap of my fingers." What's that look
That's
like?
wow, that's a hard one. I feel like my, and I'm not saying this just to say this because God is my presence and I'll be nervous, but I feel like I'm like, I just want to be close to you. I just want like, I don't know, some one-on-one time. Can we meet once a week in person?
Yeah,
Something like that. But just if we're talking about like in life action, I would say I just want to be happy, honestly. I feel like everything that life has brought me through, like all the ups and the downs, like I just want to be happy and doing things that I love with people that I love. So
yeah.
I think I would do more photography, videography, all the things. I think I would, I don't know what else. I think, I don't like,
It's a trippy question, right?
it is because I'm like, I would also have the means to like pay everybody that I love's debt off and
See
to
that?
travel the world. Like, I
Yeah,
truly do think I would travel more. Maybe with here we go. Maybe with my camera. I
yeah,
actually, when I travel for myself, I do not take my camera on purpose because I don't want to work. I want to like just be present. So travel the world, but with my camera to just enjoy and like share with
yeah.
people like the beauty of life. I want to be a mom one day, which means I need to get married, honestly, because I can't have no children until then. But it has been something that has been on my heart since I was so small.
Yeah,
So just
you
like
go.
enjoying, yeah, enjoying life. Honestly, I have no like big like oh my gosh, I will not be happy until this happens.
Sure.
So I'm just like rolling with the punches of life,
Yeah.
honestly.
One, you're gonna be an amazing mom when you are a mom,
Thank
and an
you.
amazing wife when you are a
Thank
wife.
you.
Um, but the reason why I asked that, like, I ask people, I especially ask like people at restaurants that, like the server people, just because the question itself makes you actually think and then put into plan. You're like, oh, because not every day people think about how do I get to my dream, whether
Yeah.
it's being a mom or whether it's saying like, okay, cool. By 2026, I want to shoot a cover of a magazine. Doesn't matter what magazine, could be D magazine, could be Vanity Fair, Ebony, whatever. That's my goal. How do I get there?
Mm-hmm.
But people don't think like that out loud. So
Yeah.
by just asking it, it makes people stop and go, because it is a trippy question. Makes people go, okay, cool. What is my dream? And then it helps
Yeah.
people and then it helps you start inching forward and go, okay, cool. Well, I haven't really ever thought about it, but if I did, it's this.
Yeah.
And then now you're starting to like rewire your brain little by little to go,
Hmm.
okay, well, I can do this and
No,
that.
truly, it's literally working because the way my gears are grinding right now, I'm like, I see
See?
what you're doing there. I see exactly what you're doing there.
Yeah. Because not many people, I'm learning every day, not many people are able to ever pursue their dream. They're stuck in their
Hmm.
jobs, or they always like tell their kids and they're like, oh, I'm resentful of you children. I had you children when I was 35 and y'all just took my youth from me. I was in my prime. And you're like, what? No, how? Huh? Don't
Hmm.
you the one who decided to have children. Like,
That
and I
part.
had and I had kids young, so I didn't get the solo travel life, and I got to be a dad when I was 22, and here we are years later. But I'll
Hmm.
get my freedom one day. It's close.
And you are killing it at fatherhood. So
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. It's hard. I'll say. Someone said the same thing yesterday, and I'll tell you, it's hard to accept compliments like that because it's cool, like on like when people say it, but it's like I know the day in day out. It's hard to accept that.
mm-hmm.
It's hard being a parent. I would not wish it on anybody.
As I'm over here, like, can't wait to be a mom.
but see the thing. Okay, sorry, we had some technical difficulties and some phones dying, but that's okay. Also, I'm gonna take it as a divine gift from the Lord to not tell the story I was gonna tell. So sorry, people, you don't get to hear that story.
It's okay. Yeah. He does it every time. The Lord does.
I heard a story today. Somebody, it was actually on Tim Ross's podcast. He was saying it was a guy called in and he said I don't mean to put this man's business in the street, but he said his wife he cheated on him and then he forgave her, and then months and years went by and then she started acting really weird, and then she went again when the man found out that she was going on a trip to go meet another man, and then he confronted her about it, and she was like, yeah, that's what's gonna happen. I was gonna go meet this man, and then she went anyway.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. The Holy Spirit was like, hey girl, don't go. Yo man caught you, don't go. And she went anyway. And whew, they still married. And I was like, Lord Jesus. And he was trying to figure out, his question was, what do I do? Because he was blaming himself because his dad had died and he was grieving, and he said he wasn't a good husband because his dad died. And he was like really sad, and yeah, I was like, jeez.
That is heartbreaking.
Bro, I was like, gee, I was like, leave her. I was shouting, leave her. Yeah, well, this has nothing to do with creativity, but but it's a constant reminder. When the Lord says don't do something, don't do it.
Don't do it, absolutely. And when he says to do something, go on and do that thing.
Do it. Yeah, that's that part. The obedient part is the harder part, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because we could violate, and I could have told everybody the story, but yeah, but no. But being obedient and just going and like saying, all right, cool, I'm gonna just take this one step, because I think that's hard for people too. I think that's hard for creatives too, because you don't want to give up on, like, if the whole Lord is like, hey, I'm gonna make you pivot from being a fashion designer and an artist, and I want you to go do this, and you're like, no, I don't want to do that. I like making these mats. I can sell them on Etsy. And he's like, I know better than you, but okay, have at it. You're like, okay, cool. And then you do it, and it's not as big as it could be.
But and I waste my money on a whole lot of mats that nobody's buying.
Not the wasted money on the mats. Oh my goodness.
But it's my fault. In this hypothetical situation, I done wasted my money. I better find a whole lot of friends who need mats.
That is very true. I don't know. And maybe you know, because I've never done anything Matty related. That's a weird word, Matty. But can you like print stuff on a mat, like print photos? Or do you have to like draw?
I don't think you can print on it, because the texture, at least the texture of the ones that I was using, the texture just wouldn't, I think, give space for printing. So probably not.
Oh, okay. I was just curious. Because I was like, that'd be really cool. Like, because then you could like really truly customize. You could like print a picture on it. Then you could like do like some I have this really, really weird obsession with splatter paint, like Jackson Pollock paint. And I'm like, maybe you can like Jackson Pollock paint like a splatter mat on top of some picture of, and then it's like really truly customized. Like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe someone will make a business out of that, and I would like 10% of it. Hashtag
the ideas here.
Hashtag Shark Tank. I don't know if that'll be a thing, but it'd be cool if it was.
Yeah,
sounds fun. Sounds fancy. Yeah. So like, what's left for you? So okay, so what do you, as far as like, so you do photography. Before I get to
Hmm.
my latter question, you do photography. Like, will you tell everybody like what type of photography? So like, if people are trying to like book you, like I know some people do like strictly weddings, strictly maternity. Like,
Hmm.
what does Chazon Media do?
I am one who kind of like strays away from like I have to niche down. I just feel like what's the fun in that? But although this was unintentional, I feel like the way God made it happen for me, I do a lot of families. And I feel like it's funny because a lot of photographers are like, ooh, kids, no thank you. But I do a lot of, and I don't want to, no shame on my friends, on my photographer friends, but I just like, kids are sometimes tricky. I mean, I've had from like, I don't want to say newborn, but I've had like babies all the way
Mm-hmm.
up to like mid high school prom stuff.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. Kids are, I mean, you have to really have, and this is such a side note, but in college and undergrad, I was a preschool teacher. So I feel
Real.
like I can wrangle, yes, I can
Wait.
wrangle the little ones in.
Wait. Hold on. How do we not
Mhm.
know? How do we not get on this earlier? You was a
I
preschool
also
teacher?
I also don't know how I skipped over that, but yes, I was a preschool teacher at the cutest. It was a little Christian faith-based school, so we would sing
Yeah.
little worship. The little like, kids, it was so cute. But yep, I had 3 and 4 year olds, so wrangling them and kind of getting them aligned. I come up to every photo shoot with tons of candy and snacks, and I always make sure the parents approve before I give them anything. But I come ready for the children.
Yo, Drew, you are a consummate mom, even back in the day. What? Say
Mhm.
word. That's crazy. Also, did not know you were preschool. That is insane. What made you want to be a preschool teacher?
I grew up like babysitting kids a lot, and I
Yeah.
one of my jobs I was working, one of my friends was like, "Hey, I think you'd be great. Do you want to come work with me at this preschool?" And I was like, "Dude, absolutely. Like, why would I not?" So I just,
Wow. Just that
yeah,
simple.
just
Would
that
you ever
simple.
would you ever have like stayed a teacher?
I don't think so. I don't
No?
think I don't think that's for me in who I am today.
Yeah.
My first aspiration before fashion designer, when I was in kindergarten, I was just obsessed with being in school at that point. But my first thing, I wanted to be a teacher because I had a really cool teacher.
Yeah.
So I'm like, we tried it, check, done. But definitely not a career path for me.
I love, you know what I love and appreciate? All the things that you list that you want to do, you try them. Not many
Mhm.
people do that. But you check them off. You're like, okay, cool.
We
Tried it.
tried.
Didn't like it.
Yeah.
Screw them kids. It's, man, especially nowadays. Like, I don't know what years you were teaching, but now these 3 and 4 year olds got iPads and cell phones, and you're like, one, why? Two, they're like, give me my pad. I want my pad.
Mm.
I couldn't
I
do
was
it.
definitely in the Frozen era, so them kids were just,
Mm.
I mean, I had them songs committed to heart to get them
He
to
was like, let it go.
literally to get them to like whatever it is we were trying to accomplish. I was
Yeah.
singing them dang songs all day long.
Oh, that's so funny. The thing is, I can see you being a teacher, and then like you just in the back of your mind, you're like, oh, little Johnny, I just want to. Okay, can you go put up the Play-Doh, please?
Those kids taught me patience, I will say that
Oh,
for
I
sure.
I bet 4 year olds and 3 year olds, because they're back talking machines.
I had some who helped me wrangle the others, which were helpful.
Oh,
And
that's
then I had
nice.
a handful who were just in their own world. So we had a lot of fun.
You're like, I love you with the love of Christ, but I'm finna slap you with this Bible.
I'm like, but I'm ready to go home, actually. Can
That
somebody pick
part.
you up?
That part. Hey, people, come get your children. This is not a glorified forever daycare.
Mhm.
Did you have to stay till like 6:30, like when all the other? Nope. Mm-mm.
Well, but if all of my children were picked up, I could leave.
Yeah, but you probably had that one parent who come in like 6. They're like,
Every every time.
oh my
Actually like
god,
6:35.
what? Mm-mm. Come get your children. Now we charging you late fees. I want to go
Mm,
home. I don't want to be
I'm
here with
ready.
your children no more.
Exactly. And that was the era where I was working 2 jobs. So I was like working at a retail store in the morning
Yeah.
and I had to get there at 6. And then I would get out at 2 and go to the daycare at like 3, or no, my timeline's kind of off because I got there like around like 1 maybe.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my goodness, the way I have been at this store all day long, and now I have to gather myself
Yeah.
to make sure I am very much present for them. Because some of the kids, they're like, life happens. They don't have like fully present parents, and so I'm
Right.
like, well, I need to go in and be present for these
Mm.
children.
Yeah.
It was interesting.
It's like going from like full adulthood to like, all right, cool. I can come down to your 3-year-old level a little bit, but
Hmm.
whoo, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. And you was in school too.
I surely was. The days that I didn't come straight from one job to the other, I was coming from class to the. Oh, it was tricky.
Damn, I couldn't do it. You a better person than I am, cause. Mm-mm. But see, you made it through, and I'm assuming you learned a whole bunch of patience, and you learned how to budget your time and allot your time.
Mhm.
See, That's why you are like very organized the way that you are.
You know what? I never thought about that, but maybe that is exactly why. I literally had no choice at one point, so it's just like bled over, and one of the like welcome bled over things in life because it's
Yeah,
helped.
that's awesome. See, the Lord be teaching you things, and you don't even like know.
That part. I was
That
obviously not prepared or even thinking that, like, oh my goodness, I'm going to deal with these children, and one day I'm going to need these little skills so I can make these children smile for their
yeah,
parents to have good photos.
I love that.
Mhm.
And you kill it just at the family shoot. I would be the person like, hey, get your child. Tyrone, pick up your child, man. Come on, man. This ain't nothing hard. Yeah,
It
I'd be the.
was There's this funny story. I have this one client who I love her to death. She comes back every year for Christmas. I do a lot of like minis to get, just to like help people get more affordable photos and stuff.
Yeah,
And she comes every year, not only for Christmas, but for Mother's Day. And like I have captured her kids' photos for their birthdays, like almost every year as well. And her son in the first photo shoot, he was like, no, I won't do it. Absolutely no. So it's hilarious because I have progression photos of this little boy. Like first year he was like, and then the next year he was like, and then now he's like full on like smiling and like
yeah.
just like fully engaging. And like when I say, can you fake laugh? He's fake laughing. Like it's so funny to like see the progression.
I love that. That's awesome. Would you ever consider doing like, because I like when I see your work, I'm like, okay, cool. I think like you would be super dope at like portraiture, but do you know who Herb Ritz is?
Mm-mm.
When we're done here, Google Herb Ritz.
Will
Me
do.
personally, I think Herb Ritz. I think he is the greatest photographer to ever walk this planet.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, he died in the '90s, but everything was film. But the way he shot portraits of people, he did a lot of stuff. And he did a lot of stuff with Annie Leibovitz and Vogue and all that stuff. A
Mm.
lot of covers. He shot iconic pictures of like Dijman Hansu, the dude who was in
Mhm.
Amistad, but he had like a
Mhm.
squid on his head, and he like the way he got the image, he was super black. Like black is like the color black, but like had this like squid on his head. Oh, it was white in the back. It's amazing.
Mm.
But yeah, I think you would kill it at that doing like portraits like that. That's I've always wanted to tell you, and I just never ever get a chance to tell you that.
Yeah,
So, but I
I'm
can
gonna
tell you
look
that
it
now.
up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think Herb Ritz, yeah. For me, him, he's up there, and then my friend Eric Williams, he lives out in LA. He's the person who taught me everything about photography.
Mm.
He is like right up there too, because his style is like Herb Ritz, and
I'm definitely gonna look it up. I
yeah,
feel like I love my work. I love what I do, but I have started, I guess, in my like planning for this year,
mm-hmm.
I have started thinking like, of course, I want to deliver the photos that my clients want, which is what I typically do, like family moments. I've done like birthdays, prom, like
Yeah,
sweet 16, like all those super important moments that I want to like capture. I've done a few weddings and like these are super special moments. But I was thinking in the mix of that, I want to like go a little bit more out of the box and just
Yeah.
do something different. So this might be my inspiration for that.
Look at God confirming things.
Hmm.
See, that's what I'm talking about. I like that. I really do think that you would be, I think that if you push the bounds of like your creativity, I
Hmm.
think it would be super dope.
Yeah,
Yeah. Huh. Well, I see. I don't know why the Holy Spirit told me to tell you that, but hey.
but he did.
But he did, see? Obedience. And
That.
now look where we're at.
Hmm.
So what's next? What's next for you as we start to like land this plane and wrap this episode up? What's next? Like what's next for I was about to say Chazon, but it's Chazon Media.
Hmm.
What's next for Drew?
Yeah, I think I am in a season of like, I guess dedicating myself more to like consistency and like pouring into the people that I love. And so I think immediately what's next is I'm I'm saying it, so everybody hold me to it, is like consistently like I guess like sharing my brand, like what means the most to me, like getting these special moments that people are so excited to celebrate like out to the world. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's the easiest thing that I know I need to work on. So that's like the most immediate next for me and Chazon Media. Um and then I think in due time, like a lot of people have invested in me and I have dabbled a little bit here or there in investing in like people who are learning about photography, videography. Like I mean the mastering the art of lighting is like something I love. I love to think about and like figure out how I can push those bounds as well. So I feel like that is on the horizon too. Like I want to pay forward what has been paid, like what
Yeah.
has been done for me and like how much I like literally in like the matter of a year, like my entire like photography work is like night and day so different. And so I just really feel super passionate about making sure I have the ability to like give that to others too.
Yeah.
So that's coming up. And one day, hopefully, I mean, there's a plethora of photographers, videographers, like everything that work for Kazan. So that way, like, we can get, again, like more special moments for people. And like you said, like more pushing the bounds and all the things. So
Yeah.
that's future. For Drusilla, it really is what we said earlier. I need to slow down a little bit, rest. This is my year
Yeah.
of rest. So, like, finding a way to do all the things, but also to rest and take care of myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, enjoy, like, just, I don't know. God has been so good to me. So, I'm like, I feel like I'm finally in a place where it's like, enjoy that. Enjoy
Yeah.
the people that you have in your life, like, how full life feels right now. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I would never, I mean, if you would have asked Austin Drusilla what this version of Drusilla, like, if you would have been like, oh my gosh, this was coming up for your life, I would have been like, what? No, there's no way. And so now that I'm here, I'm like just ready to enjoy and like
Yeah.
live
I
it.
love that. Have you now when you were talking, the Holy Spirit popped in my head. Have you ever considered like doing and teaching children, since you're really good with kids, teaching kids how to do photography?
Do you know what's so funny? I got my goddaughter a little camera for Christmas. And it's like a little digital like point and shoot camera but for kids, like
Yeah.
obviously like the buttons are kid friendly. So she is going to be my first little student that I'm going to walk through like this is how you do this and like like just I love my little quality time I get to have with her. So
Yeah.
I guess maybe I'll see how that goes and see if I still have the patience to do that with the children.
I, I mean, maybe I don't know how old she is, but maybe I was thinking more like 10, 11, 12. That's kind of in that.
That does feel more reasonable. She's 4. Well, she's about to be
Oh,
4, but
okay, yeah, like 10, 11, 12.
oh my goodness, wait, no, she's about to be 3, so she's a little one. It's gonna be
Ooh,
tricky. It's gonna be
ooh,
tricky. But
yeah.
again, I have 3-year-olds. Remember, I'm telling you, I got this.
Oh, of course. Oh, I have no doubt whatsoever that you, if there was anybody to do it, it would definitely be you. But yeah, I don't know. Sorry, I'm not trying to impede on your vision, but the way
Oh,
that I see it, I'm like, oh, Chazon Media can make like a side part, like a nonprofit where
mm,
Chazon Media can actually sit and uh, give back, because you were talking about giving back, give
mm,
back into lower income areas to be able to teach
yes.
students uh, the art of photography, and
Mhm.
then give them, and then you partner with a local studio and say, hey, you guys are creatives. Come, I'll edit, review, we'll do all this stuff, and yeah, that's a way to give back. And now you are passing on knowledge to the next generation.
I absolutely love that, especially because I feel like some of these things like can be people's like lifelong like trajectories. Like somebody can learn something like this. And I mean, I imagine like if I learned this at 10 instead of doodling, which I still love my fashion little doodling era. But if I learned this at 10, like I try to think like how far would you be now?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna pocket that.
Yeah. Cause then cause it's one thing, cause Peyton likes to draw. Um, I noticed that she knows nothing about lighting, but the way when she sketches it like she knows lighting, and I'm
like there's a light right
mm-hmm.
here in her, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And like she has like the shadows and everything. I'm like, where are you putting the light from? She's like, I don't know. There is no light. I'm just drawing, and I think the shadow would be better over here. But I'm like, so you like photography? She's like, no, I hate it.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
It's like, no, your subconscious has paid attention and has learned something.
Yeah. And the crazy thing is she comes up with her own characters and stuff, and I'm like, I can't draw to save anybody.
I've actually seen her work, and I'm like, that is impressive.
That she, you know what? It started off really, really bad, but because of her autism, she just, that's all she ever does. She just sketches in school. She'll just draw, and I'm like, how did you learn? She's like, I don't know.
She actually told me that one day. She was like, yeah, I used to suck, and I just kept drawing, and now I'm good. I was like, keep going.
I'm like, oh, okay. And like, I sent one to my friend Courtney. I sent because Courtney's a really great artist, but I sent her a picture, and I was like, look at what she's done. And then I saw her send her a more recent thing. She's like, oh my God. Like, she like evolved. I'm like, and she's like, where'd you take her? Who taught her? I was like, she taught herself. She just looks at something and she's like, that's cool. Now she has an iPad and she's just drawing on. I'm like, okay, child.
We love that.
I don't know where you got the creativity, but you don't, because I'm only good at photos, video editing, and that's all I'm good at. But yeah.
But I think you gave her your creative gene and she morphed it into her own.
Probably. Because my creative stuff started when I was like 15. I started off doing graphic design for my church, for my old church. Yeah, that was it. And then editing youth group videos.
That's funny.
Yeah, it was. This is a really silly story. I had the opportunity. My dad gave me the choice to either get this is gonna date me, an Apple iBook G4. Which was what? Like, yeah. And I could have gotten, this is 2005. I could have got an Apple iBook G4 to go to college and but I wanted it to make videos. Or they were like, oh, you can go to Europe. So what did I choose? I chose a computer.
Really? I was expecting you to say I went to Europe.
No, I chose a computer because that's what I was really in love with. I would make the videos and just was tired of editing them at work or at church. I wanted to do them at home. So I made that choice. And looking back on it, I was like, because I know myself. I didn't want to go to college. I was forced to. But I know that if I would have went to Europe, I wouldn't have come back.
Honestly, same actually.
I wouldn't have come back. You couldn't have paid me at 18 with a pocket full of money in Europe.
Ooh.
You couldn't pay me enough to come back to America. I'd be like, I'm stuck over here. Send money.
Yeah, sorry, I can't make it back for some reason, but I just can't.
I can't. I met a lady over here in Italy. I'm in love. Never coming home yet. No.
That is so funny.
No, the Lord knew better than to do that. So it was computer it was for me. But yeah. Yeah. All right, cool. We've given each other we've talked about a lot of stuff and we've gotten a lot of ideas out there.
Truly.
Yeah.
Talk about being creative.
Really. And then Chazon Media is going to have now a nonprofit wing, and yeah, expanding of the creative empire, branching out of family photography. This is a
I
good
have, yeah, I have branched a little bit, and I like dabbled more into wedding stuff, and I was like, we might be here for this. I don't want to promise anybody anything, but I'm like, I just like the niche down. I can't do it because I'm like, you dabble out, and you just like, there's so much more. There's so much out there. So,
Absolutely. I to limit your self creativity in a bubble, that's weird. Like I have a friend,
agreed.
his name is Scott, and all he does is weddings. He makes a ton of money, but he just does weddings. And I'm like, my thing I've in my whole life I've shot 3 or 4 weddings. Every single time I miss the kiss. Every time.
Oh,
Every time. Every time I'm like, yeah, I got a better camera. I'm a get it. I got high speed, like continuous turned on. Never.
every time.
Every
What?
time.
I actually, this is so random. I heard a podcast myself, and it was like a photography podcast. And some people were like sending confessions, and a photographer was like, I missed the kiss. And I like pretended it wasn't my fault. And I asked them to redo it, and they did. And I
Yeah,
was like, well, I'm glad I listened to that. Just in case I'm ever in that predicament,
of
I
course.
will be asking y'all to redo it. I'm so sorry about everybody else in this room, but we're going to be redoing that kiss.
This is a moment. Yeah, every time, all 4 of them, like 3 or 4 of however many it is, I have given them a moderately blurry photo because it was focused on whether it's the priest who's standing like smack in the
Or the
middle of them.
dress or something.
Yeah, whatever it
Oh,
is, and I feel terrible, and I'm like, luckily they were all friends. Like it wasn't
mhm.
like an actual client, but I'm like, oh. Same thing with like wedding videos. One time I butchered my friend Nathan's wedding video. My
Oh,
camera died. Like I didn't have enough batteries because it was a 6-hour thing.
hmm.
Dang. Yeah.
The last one I did, my flash, it was like very much flash dependent. I needed flash, and at the very last minute, my flash died. I was like, "Ooh, well, it's time for me to go, y'all. I'll see y'all. I'll see y'all later."
That's how it goes. It's like once equipment starts dying, it's like, ugh. Yeah. But it's okay. I've learned, and I've learned weddings are not my thing.
Hmm.
Never again. Yeah. Never again. Okay. Anyway, enough on that. Let's wrap this thing up. If the people want to follow you or want to support Chazon Media, how do they get in contact with you or follow you or book you or whatever?
All the things. So if you want to follow me directly, just Drucilla Nicole. I'm kind of boring, but I'm there. The thing is, I mean it so bad.
But it was just the way that you said, you're like, I'm kind of boring, but I'm here.
I'm there. But if you want to find all of the things I creatively do, it's Chazon Media. That's just it on Instagram. I took my website down. I just felt like it was redundant. It was the same information, but the booking link is on the Instagram as well. So you'll
Oh,
find all of that there.
nice. Love that. No website, but there's a booking link. Come on, people.
That's what
Book her.
we need.
That's all you need. Ain't nobody, realistically, in 2025, no one's going to a website going, oh my God, this is amazing. It's all about
And
Instagram.
the thing is, the photos are the same. Like what I'm posting on Instagram, I'm gonna put on my website. That's why I was like, this is so redundant. I'm spending so much time. Like we're gonna depreciate that one and just make sure the Instagram is popping.
Save some money. Yeah.
That too.
Yeah. Save them dollars. You can use the money to invest in a new lens,
Hmm.
whatever. Love it. Drew, I'm grateful for you. Also, let me just say it publicly. I said it earlier in the introduction, you are the most gracious person ever. Like you did something on Sunday that you didn't have to
Oh,
do. Like I am grateful. I'm grateful just for the ability to know you. Cause I remember when I first met you, I was like, oh, somebody new. Cause it was at Fair Park in January of
hmm.
23.
Yep.
Yeah. Jeez, it's been a long time. Or was it January of 20? It was
No,
January 24.
24. It was 24. Yep.
Yeah. But still, I remember that day and I was like, oh, awesome. But like to see from where you've been from there till now, like everything you've been through, like it's amazing. I am grateful to be able to just have a little small little small piece of being in your orbit. I'm grateful.
Likewise, I appreciate that.
Absolutely. All right, everybody. I will see you next week. Okay. Bye.
Bye, everyone.